Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to stage one. Our next presenter is Soren Kellenberger. He is partner and sales director at CNC On Site. He's going to be talking about optimizing offshore wind turbine O&M. So great, perfect for the theme of this conference. So over to you.
Thank you, Jake, and welcome everyone. I will just show you what I'll be going through today. So I'll just give a very brief introduction about myself and CNC On Site, and then we will speak a bit about some of the offshore O&M challenges, and I will then take two examples of how we believe we can contribute to optimizing O&M on offshore turbines. In the end, there's some contact info in case anyone needs to get in contact and want more information. And there's, of course, also a Q&A. If we have time, there is a short video in the end, but that's not that important. So, about myself, I originally have a bachelor degree in mechanical engineering. Before joining CNC On Site about 4 years ago, I was 16 years in a Danish engineering company called R&D, also acting as primarily as a sales manager. And as Jake mentioned today, I'm sales director and partner at CNC On Site. Since I graduated, I've spent around 18 years within the wind turbine industry, both on the more the development side of the business, and now with CNC On Site on the operational side of things. Very short about CNC On Site. The company was founded back in 2012 with a focus on maintaining CNC machines, electrical and mechanical repair and maintenance, and to some extent also some on-site in situ machining. Today, we've changed the focus, so we are 100% focused on on-site machining, and we've narrowed that further down, so we really focus on the wind turbine industry. We are operating globally and employ around 60 people. So to some of the challenges, what we see is that turbines are getting larger and larger. So we have higher downtime costs due to lost production. We have higher vessel costs. We have larger components, so to replace a component becomes more expensive. And larger components also means higher tool costs, lifting equipment, everything related to bolting, and so on. And the bigger the component gets, the more dangerous also it becomes handling them. So in terms of HSE, there are also challenges that are increasing. Then there is a push for longer lifetime, where the turbines years back were designed for 20 years. It's now more 25, 30, 35 years. And of course, with offshore, the interest of running the assets as long as possible is, of course, high due to the cost of building the offshore wind farm. There's also the use of FEA tools that is pushing the components closer to their design limits to reduce OPEX. And it means that you have lower design reserve factors, and especially for those older turbines that were maybe designed for 20 years lifetime, you will of course see more wear on these, especially if you want to lifetime extend. And then you can say the traditional replace and repair methods are also highly depending on weather conditions. And with the cost we see on the turbines, the vessels, everything, and also with the CO2 footprint, if you can repair instead of replace, it has a lot of benefits. So what we suggest is do as much as possible on site in the turbine. This requires machines that are designed to enable this efficient repair on site, especially for the existing fleet, the legacy fleet. This was not necessarily considered in the design, so that requires that you do a lot of designing to fit the machine into the space that is available. On new designs, it could be beneficial to include some of these methods and consider on-site machining, on-site repair in the design phase to improve your O&M going forward. One of the examples I've taken here is the possibility to obtain maintenance-free bolts. Tightening and retightening of bolts is in the large mechanical joints is relatively time-consuming. It's also therefore relatively expensive, and it's hard work with the bolts getting bigger and bigger, now passing M72 and on some of the new designs going to M90, M100. Just lifting the nut is a hassle, and the torque tools and so on are becoming extremely heavy and expensive. So one of the solutions of getting rid of that work is basically if you can ensure that your connection has sufficiently flat flanges and that you are in control of your bolt tightening process. And one way of ensuring that these flanges are flat enough is to implement plant machining during manufacturing. So what we are showcasing here is a project we've done together with Vestas. They have implemented flange machining on their bottom flanges on the towers, and they have now machined. The numbers I have here is from 23 flanges. So there's a lot of details on the left side, but what you can see is that the global waviness has an average of 0.27, with a worst case being 0.6 millimeters of global flatness, and the best case 0.08, which is nearly next to impossible to measure in, but it's a very stable process. And some of the benefits you gain from this in terms of production is that you have no heat tempering on the flanges if they are out of tolerance. You don't have any intermediate measurements between your manufacturing step. Normally, you would then measure the flange. If it's out of tolerance, you would have to heat straighten it, do a new measurement, and that process can sometimes it's necessary to repeat that multiple times. So you get a more planned process in your manufacturing, and basically a higher line throughput. So time savings on reduced measurements, less documentation, and you don't need to do any flange matching between your towers and transition pieces or monopiles, depending on if you are using a TP or a TPLS design. So, and in terms of operations, there's huge cost savings on not having to retighten bolts. But as you can see, this is if you want to obtain these maintenance-free bolts, it's something that requires you to consider that already in the design phase. So it's important to get some of these cost savings on the O&M. It can be necessary to step quite far back in the design process, the manufacturing process, to allow you to gain these cost savings at a later stage. So this is one example of where you have to consider that in your design. Another example is on turbines that are up and running. I think one of the components that most people can relate to is the yaw ring. Um, the yaw ring of the turbine can wear or it can break due to different reasons. But the yaw ring is probably the most challenging component to exchange. If you want to exchange the yaw ring, it requires a complete nacelle disassembly. So taking down the blades, taking the hub off, and lifting the nacelle to at least to the deck of an installation vessel. And that is, of course, extremely expensive. But it is possible to make these repairs up tower. There are different possibilities. One possibility is to weld the teeth. That can be a good solution if you have smaller damages, cracks, or chip offs on your teeth. It can be your only alternative if there are no machining solution. But if a machining solution is available, the machining solution is normally ideal for larger repairs. So it can be either a number of smaller repairs on multiple teeth next to each other, or it can be larger damages to one or multiple teeth where the machining has its benefits compared to welding. The main differences between the two processes is that welding is relatively fast to get up and get started. It takes a bit more time to get a machine in and get it set up, but the process time is relatively slower on welding, and you have a manual grinding process, which makes it more difficult to get a good contact surface on the yaw ring. Once it's been welded, you have to grind it, and if you do not get an even contact surface, you will have some local, very high uh, local forces on your yaw ring, and that can cause it to break again relatively fast. So again, the larger the damage is, the more you need to weld, the more you need to grind to get an even contact surface. The higher the risk is that the repair will not last that long. And there you have some benefits on the machining side. Um, as a rule of thumb, if you need to repair one complete tooth, it takes about 1 day. And with our machining solution, we can repair a segment which consists of 6 teeth in 1 day. So if you have multiple damages next to each other, the machining is faster. If you only have a small chip off on one tooth, it's faster to weld it. So you should always look at your damages and then evaluate which repair solution is the best for each case. Just a little bit more into the details of how the machining solution works. So on the lower left picture, you see an area of damage where you have damages to your yaw ring. And basically, the way the repair works is by bringing a 3-axis CNC controlled machine up tower and mount it. It's shown in the middle lower picture. Then the area is milled out, leaving a pocket like it's shown on the top left picture. And then we bring a prefabricated segment that has the exact shape of the original yaw ring. The pocket is and the segment combined have a slight press fit. So the segment is either slightly pre-bent or it's frozen down to allow the mounting. And once it's mounted in that pocket, it's held in place by bolts as well. And if you have more than 6 teeth that are damaged, you can do consecutive repairs, just installing more segments. So the benefits of being able to do this up tower is, of course, you have no disassembly of the turbine. You don't need any cranes. Everything can be handled with the internal crane of the turbine. So you reduce your downtime. You are less depending on weather conditions, as this can be done at higher wind speeds. We are working in the nacelle, So this can be done at higher wind speeds. That component exchanges can be done. There's of course a lot less coordination required if you can call a team who can go and do the repair on site, instead of having to organize exchange components, jack up vessels, lifting gear, and all of that stuff. That's of course a huge time saver in coordination and all of these different things. So, and you have less bottlenecks in terms of crane availability, staffing, spare part availability, and stuff like that. And there are a lot of other examples of what you can do up tower. It could be the sliding surface of the yaw ring. It could be mounting surface of yaw ring, rotor locks, brake disc, shafts. You can do external shaft turning. You can do internal shaft machining. You can repair teeth on pitch bearings. You can do broken bolts. It can be torque arms on gearboxes, and a lot of stuff that can actually be repaired on site instead of taking the components down and moving them to a workshop. Yeah, I think that was already it. I have a lot of more details I can talk about if needed, but if you want to get in contact with me or CNC on site, you can go through our website. You can contact me on email or phone, and I'll be happy to speak more about how on-site repair solutions can optimize different O&M situations.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And yeah, opening up our eyes to possibilities of what can be done on site with the CNC equipment. So just to start us off with a question. Oh, did you have some other examples?
No, I just wanted to go back to the examples. If anyone, if it could inspire anyone to ask questions or anything, I just wanted to leave that page on. And yeah, so yeah,
Great,
so that
thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just wondering about what the logistical challenges are of performing the off-site repair, and then therefore the kind of savings and benefits you get from then moving that to on-site.
Yeah, yeah. I think maybe touched a bit upon it in the presentation, but if you need to take a main component, be it a generator, a gearbox, or blade or whatever, if you need to take a main component down to bring it to a workshop, requires you to get a jack up vessel out to sea, take that main component down. If you have a replacement component, you can of course install that and get your turbine up and running to reduce your downtime cost. But the whole logistics in getting out there with a jack up and so on is time consuming, and is especially if you get an one thing is if you can plan a main component exchange. It's still extremely expensive to get the jack up out there, but if you can plan it, at least you don't have downtime on your turbine. But if it's an unplanned exchange you need to do, uh, you often have to wait for, I don't know, weeks, potentially months before you can get a jack up out there, and so you have a lot of downtime cost on top of it. And there's a whole logistics planning in being able to move a main component back to shore and then getting it repaired. The
Brilliant.
equipment we use now, I can only, you could say, speak for CNC on site, but the way we design and how we think in terms of on-site repairs is that we need to be able to move and handle the equipment with very small means of transportation. So basically, we can go by CTV, and we can lift the equipment from a CTV or similar transport vessel to the foundation with the David crane. So everything is small enough to be handled by the on-site cranes that are already in the offshore turbine. So the David crane, and from the platform to the turbine, we use the internal crane of the turbine. So everything is down in smaller components that can be handled, and they can also be moved around within the nacelle with the internal crane systems that are available in turbines. So all the equipment is designed for that. So that is of course a huge logistical benefit if you can do the repair on site instead.
Great. And sure, again, you touched on it a bit, and it depends on the technology that you use to repair. But how do you ensure that the on-site repairs maintain the same quality and quality assurance as a factory or shore-based repair?
Yeah. If we take the yaw ring as an example, so the benefit of machining is that we have a CNC controlled machine. So when we machine the pocket in the yaw ring, we do that within a few hundredths of a millimeter tolerance, and we bring the segments prefabricated, so they are manufactured on workshop machines, typically 5-axis CNC machines. So they come with extremely fine tolerances corresponding to the tolerances of the original yaw ring. So that is one way where we are not depending on manual processes in when we repair the yaw ring, for instance. It's of course you cannot get those tolerances when you are grinding, but it doesn't necessarily have to be as good. It needs, of course, to be good enough. But yeah, that's where you have to look at your damage case and see what is actually needed. But all our equipment is special designed. So we design equipment that is really the core of the company, is to uh, design and operate equipment for on-site machining. So our engineering department is focused on, they don't do anything else, that equipment that can is movable and can be used on site. And our technicians do nothing else but on-site work, so they are also trained in operating the equipment on site. And it's that combined experience, the knowledge that goes from our technicians into the machine development, and then also their ability to operate the machines on site, is what also gives very good tolerances in the end.
Yeah.
But it's really using equipment that is fit for purpose that ensures that we provide very good tolerances.
Hmm. And final question from me then was just around the undeniable trend at the moment of wind turbines getting larger and larger. Do your current repair technologies scale easily, or I assume you'd need a different equipment setting. You definitely need different implant gears, but is it something that can scale to these larger machines?
Yeah, the methods, they scale quite easily, and when you have experience with repairing one turbine, then scaling it to a larger turbine works well. But as you correctly point out here, when you have a larger turbine, you have a different size yaw ring. The segment, of course, needs to fit the specific yaw ring, and the available space around the yaw ring is also very different from turbine to turbine. So I cannot just take one machine and say it fits all turbine platforms. Often the layout of the machine needs to be modified to fit the available space that you can find in a given platform. Um, so, but the yaw ring repair method is also the most turbine specific repair. When you go to something like the sliding surface, it is much easier to adapt a base machine to different nacelle layouts. The same goes for rotor locks and some of the other systems. But the yaw ring is of course very platform specific. But scaling the mythology and how it works is not difficult.
Brilliant. Thank you. Well, thank you again for a great presentation. And we'll leave it there for that session. Thank you again.
All right. Thank you.